Welcome everyone to Dusseldorf, Germany, where the Bundesliga, the German Bundesliga is taking place. Arjun travels from the Grenke Open in Karlsruhe to this place to play for board number 1 for the Dusseldorfer SK, a very strong team that has him on board number 1, Wesley So on board number 2, Anish Giri on board number 3. Wow, what a team! And Arjun is playing with the white pieces against Max Warmerdam from Solingen SG. Knight comes out to f3, and Max Warmerdam, a great player from the Netherlands, he is very, very good with his opening prep. His elo is 2-6-2-2. He's now deciding what to do against Arjun's knight f3. He goes d5 in the center, plonks his pawn, and Arjun goes b3. I think it's a conscious decision from Arjun to play a non-theoretical line against Max Warmerdam, trying to take him a little bit out of theory. c5 played here, and let's see what Arjun plays, because if you play bishop b2, it's actually a small error because of f6, and then black can build a strong center. So e3 makes a lot of sense, opening up the bishop. In case of f6, now you can play your pawn to d4. Knight comes out to f6 for Max, and Arjun now plays his bishop to b2, placing it on the long diagonal. This is how Aaron Nimzowitsch used to love to play. It's called hypermodern chess, where you don't put any pawns in the center of the board. You let black build a strong center and then hack it up with your own pawns. g6 played to put the bishop on this long diagonal, and now white can actually give a check here or just play bishop e2. Both are pretty fine. Arjun gives a check here on b5. Most of the times what black players do not prefer to do is put their knight here and allow white to kind of double these pawns and also make c5 into a weakness which can be attacked this way. So that's why you will see that Max plays his bishop to d7, offering a trade of bishops. And Arjun can take it, but he decides to not trade. Now look at this very carefully, because firstly, he provokes the bishop here, then doesn't trade it. He goes back, bishop e2. And Max simply goes bishop to g7, and he's now going to castle here. He also feels that this bishops opposite, facing each other is good for him. c4 played here by Arjun, a nice move, because you can't push your pawn to d4 just yet. I can take it, actually. He takes on c4. By the way, this is not such a silly move, because if I take, there is knight h5 trying to come here, and there's pin here. Ooh, interesting. Okay, anyway, he took, pawn takes pawn. Now, a new structure has arisen here. Pay very close attention, because black exchanges d pawn for white's b pawn, which means white's center is very, very solid. White now short castles. What does this mean if you have a very strong center? Can you just play your pawn to d4? Well, that is exactly what Max wants. Because after knight to c6, if Arjun pushes his pawn to d4, then let's say take, this pawn can become weak. You see the bishop attacking here, the knight, the queen can come, the rook can enter. So that's the reason why Arjun should not be pushing his pawn 2 squares. He goes 1 square forward. He goes d3. And he controls these central squares with his pawns. And next up, he would like to move his knight out, the queen out, and continue. Now the queen goes to c7. It's placed on a nice square here on c7. Knight can jump to c3 to b5. Later to hit the queen, and Arjun does play his knight to c3. Interesting moment in the game. Now what does black do? Is he going to play a6? He goes rook d8. A good move. The rook is looking at the d3 pawn. There are also plans here to go a6, rook b8 and b5. That's also a very interesting way to expand on the queen side. And Arjun now plays his queen to c2. Notice how Arjun's making these very little moves. Queen c2, the bishop is here. Because inbuilt in the position is a lot of power. That's because of his central pawns, and at the right time when he pushes, it will all get released. The energy will get released. Right now rook c8, and Arjun goes h3. Again a very little move, slightly improving his position. This is the building up phase, and Arjun also has taken only 6 minutes on the clock. B6 by Max. He's also waiting here. He's not taking any quick decisions, just hanging in there. But Arjun has an 18-minute time edge. Now rook a d1. This is a very important move. You see that Arjun brings his a rook to d1, not the f rook, because he wants to keep his f rook on f1 or maybe later to e1. Knight e5. A small error. Well, Max would love if pieces get traded. That's what he wants. But Arjun says, I won't trade. Do you remember this bishop b5, bishop d7 in the opening and then him pulling his bishop back? That was the first instance of not trading. Now this is the second instance when he's not trading. Queen b7. He tries to take up the long diagonal so that the bishop can come here and put pressure on g2. But there we have Arjun now gaining space. And notice how these two central pawns take away all the squares from the black knights. f4 pushed forward. The knight has to move now. Where will the knight go? Knight to c6 seems like a logical move. Knight c6, again you will see that d4 square is off limits, but he may want to go to b4. Does Arjun push his pawn to a3 here to stop that? Yes, he does. Again, limiting the black pieces. If black can get e5 here in the center, it might be nice, but it weakens the d5 square. You don't want to be playing that. So knight goes to b8. Not a very happy move to make, but Max wants to go bishop c6, knight to d7. Arjun plays bishop f3, attacking the queen. But what does he have in mind when black will simply put his bishop on c6, offering a trade? And that's exactly what Max does. By the way, look at the time. Arjun has 32 minutes time lead on the clock. Now, Arjun pushes his pawn forward, and it's the third instance when he has not let black trade pieces. Yes, he does weaken the d4 square. The knight would love to come here, but does black have the time and the bandwidth to do that? He goes e6 here. A move that is not very happily made, because this knight with this e6 move, the d6 square does get weakened and pawn pushed forward. The knight has to move away now. And yes, the bishops are going to be traded, but look at this juicy square that the white knight is going to jump into. Bishop takes bishop first. You could take here on f6, but then there's bishop d1 hitting the queen. So first, knight takes f3. He takes it with the knight. The other knight is ready to jump into e4. Black can move the knight away from f6, so the knight goes back to e8. And now knight e4. White wants to centralize the knight, and this knight is looking at f6, d6. And just like that, in 22 moves, Arjun has gotten such a wonderful position against one of the best theoreticians in the world. Knight c6 played. He's angling at the d4 square. That's what he wants to do here. And what does Arjun do? Stop it. He stops knight d4 because now there are three people controlling this square. And Arjun is just stopping his opponent's plans at the right time. He's proceeding with his own plans. He's playing a phenomenal game of chess at this point. Now what next? Rook fe1, another beautiful move. Because imagine I give a check. You take, pawn takes. Already the rook is opposite the queen. So it's a very, very nice move to play. Max goes rook d7. He's so cramped for space. But he has a good plan. He wants to double down on the d3 pawn and place his knight on d4. Arjun now goes free. He goes on the attack on the king side, g4. When you have a strong center, you want to attack. That's the plan. And now rook d8. Oh, he goes queen d8. I was just wondering if rook d8 is a bad move. Perhaps. But queen d8, same idea. He wants to attack the pawn on d3. And Arjun very calmly defends it. But hey, now can the knight jump in on d4? The problem is after I take, a pawn comes in and suddenly these two pieces are looking at their own pawn. So maybe knight d4 isn't that particularly great move. Max is looking at some way to create counterplay. Where is his counterplay? He goes a6. A waiting move, you may say, maybe hoping that in future he can break with b5. Looks unlikely as the c5 pawn would be weakened. And Arjun, seeing that his opponent doesn't have much to do, goes king h1. Just calmly trying to improve his position, but more importantly, angling for the f5 break. Because after take, the g file will open up. Knight e7. He's playing against the f5 move here. He's trying to just keep his knight on the control of the f5 square, and Arjun is going h4. Wow, he wants to play h5 next. This is just tremendous play by Arjun Erigaisi. He's just strangling his opponent. You can think about it. Opponent is getting badly strangled in, but Max is like, I'm going to try and break free. I'm playing my pawn to b5. If you take, I take, I'll try to create a passer. Otherwise, I'm just taking here, trading a few pieces down the d file. Arjun is like, I'm going for the attack. h5. Now take, and putting the knight on f5 is the best move here. And black is still in with fighting chances. But a big mistake here by Max Warmerdam. Queen b6. Not what was needed in the position. I can understand his emotions. He wants to attack the b2 bishop. Arjun just simply puts his bishop on c3 and asks Max, what's the plan next here? Well, for now, I think it's high time to take on h5. But Max is too slow. He goes knight c6. No, that's not how you play this position. Now you will get mated here on the king side. That's my feeling. Look at this. I take, you take. I move with my queen. I move with my knight. My knight is jumping in here. He takes the pawn. Arjun takes on g6. And now fg6 also is possible. It's not a bad move, but it further weakens the e6 square. So he takes with the h pawn. For the time being, seems like Max is doing okay. But to tell you the truth, knight g5 does seem like a deadly option with the queen moving in. But f5, there we go. Arjun Erigaisi with his central pawn well defended pushes f5. Max has only 2 minutes on the clock. We are at move number 32, so 8 more moves to make. Arjun has 20 minutes on the clock. He takes b takes c4. That's the final blunder. Well, if you take, this could have been possible. Knight f6, it's already a huge attack. But this was the best way for black to continue. White was still winning. But b takes c4 is just a big blunder. If Arjun goes f6, it's just curtains. The reason for it is after f6, bishop f8, I go knight g5, queen h3, and no power in the world can stop this checkmate from happening. You can see Arjun taking his time there. He has so much time. He knows that he can win in multiple ways. But f6 is just so powerful. He pushes his pawn forward. It's like that final nail in the coffin. Black resigns. Max Warmerdam is like, yes, I didn't see that coming. I'm resigning here. I know that my king cannot be saved. And Arjun Erigaisi scores a huge victory for his team. Let's hear the players. Look at Arjun immediately saying you should have taken gh5 to get the f5 square. Let's hear them closer.
Arjun, first of all, congratulations on your victory today. I just wanted to ask about the opening you played. I think it was non-theoretical like knight f3 and b3. What was your ideas behind that?
Yeah, it was like not to get any opening advantage or anything, just to get a game and outplay the opponent. And I did get like a very nice position. Like he didn't really handle the position well, so I got an extremely good position.
So where do you think he went wrong? I think it was like a clean victory to you. Like where do you think he started to, his position started to fall off?
I think starting from knight e5, he went in the wrong direction. Like after knight e5, knight d2, I was already better, I think, because I'll get f4 with the tempo. And like knight d2, f4 are some of my ideas anyway. And now it's like I'm getting 2 tempo for free. And then his position kept becoming more and more difficult. But I was like not so precise. I allowed this chance for him to take gh5 either instead of queen b6 or instead of knight c6, but both the times he did not, and yeah, that was really his chance.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about your team. I think how has your experience been playing in Bundesliga so far?
Yeah, I have been playing for Dusseldorf for maybe 2 years, and yeah, it's nice to be playing for such a strong team where like everyone is so strong.
Yeah, what do you have to say about your team? Like, how is that?
Yeah, like I said, like everyone is so strong, so I'm happy to be playing in such a team.
How have you adopted, like, getting to know your opponents like a couple of hours before that? Of course, they have played freestyle and you like that's bit of the similar, but how has that been? I mean, just to add to that, does that affect to your preparation, and how is that?
Maybe a little bit, but not a lot. And yeah, it is like unique. Like you get to know only 2 hours before, but it's also same for the opponent, so it's not any disadvantage.
Yeah. So I think you have a fair chance of winning this tournament. I think you're leading coming to this 13th round. Did you have an added pressure coming to this round? But how was it?
No, I think we are just quite confident that we will win this series this year.
Like, what are your plans for the last 2 rounds? Like, I think you all have a better chance, but how is it?
Just play my best chess.
Great. Thank you so much, and hope to see you. Hope that your teams wins. Yeah.
Thank you.